Hi, I'm Andrew, and I'm with Envy Board Gaming, and today we're going to be talking about a video that I have been wanting to do for quite some time, actually. And in light of the new Dice Throne Kickstarter, I thought this would be a great opportunity for me to do a top 10 list of my favorite Dice Throne characters. And I'll kind of talk about rounding out the 16, but I thought that this would be kind of a great opportunity with the Dice Throne Marvel campaign that's live right now. Just something fun to do, something I've always wanted to talk about, as I haven't ever done a review on Dice Throne, but it is a game that I thoroughly enjoy. And so I'm going to go ahead and jump right in to my top 10, and then at the end I'll let you know my 11 through 16, just in case you're interested. So let's go ahead and jump right in, and I'll tell you guys what I think. So with number 10, this is really close with my number 11. They're almost interchangeable. But my number 10 is the Seraph. So the Seraph is my number 10. And what I like about the Seraph is that it has a lot of different abilities and tokens. So it has a lot of cleansing, it can heal, it has a lot of really amazing abilities that it has access to. Its power isn't crazy. It's not something that really kind of stands out when I play with the Seraph. But I do like the abilities it has with, the cleanse, the Holy Spirit, the holy presence, the blessing of divinity, even with blinding light and flight. It has a lot of evasive, a lot of healing, a lot of prevention in its defensive role. And so it's really fun to play. It can be a little bit more difficult than some other characters, and I do tend to like the more complex characters just because they have a lot of depth to them. So this one is a really great character to play with. Can be a little annoying for opponents, I think, at times, just because there's so much prevention and healing and cleansing, and that it can just be kind of a pest. But I like that about this character. So the Seraph is my number 10. My next one, my number 9, is almost a little bit the complete opposite of the Seraph, and that is the Pyromancer. This one is like a glass cannon, at least from my experience. So the Pyromancer does a ton of damage, and it works really well. It focuses on these fire mastery tokens that you get to spend that can do different things and boost your attacks and everything. And I really like that this is just going all out, glass cannon, do as much damage as possible. Also with the burning that it adds with the ability tokens, a great little ability there, being able to knock people down, stunning them. This is really one that if you want to do a lot of damage, granted, you're going to easily take a lot of damage, but this is one that if you're just like, hey, I want to try to go out there and see how much I can hit somebody for, Pyromancer is a great one to go for. This is one, when I'm feeling in a fiery mood, it's a great one to play. My number 8 is going to be the Monk. Again, one that I think, its complexity is a little bit more than the Pyromancer. The Pyromancer is a 3. This is a 4. And this is the play style of this is going to revolve a lot around these chai tokens that you get to use to prevent damage and to increase your damage, which I really like those kind of modifiers in Dice Throne and the different characters that have those. So I really like that. The Monk does have, knockdown as well, some cleanse, evasive. It has a really good high defense and cleansing of those negative status effect tokens that you may get. Just maybe not too crazy of damage, or, if you're managing those chai tokens really well, you might be able to get some good hits in. But this, again, I like just that depth to the character, kind of with the Seraph, but I like this one a little bit more with number 8, and it's the complexity is a little bit higher, and I do tend to like those more in-depth characters. So that is my number 8. Number 7 is the Huntress, and I really like this one. I think a big part of it is because she comes with the Naira, the pet that comes with her, their companion. which is an interesting, only one in either set that comes with like one of these. Well, I guess we'll talk about some other ones probably a little later, no spoilers, but that has like a little helper or something. But I do like Naira because Naira allows they have like Naira's bond and everything, and allows you to even use Naira as a shield or to modify your attacks, and you can even heal Naira. So she's a nice little like meat shield that also modifies your attacks and makes you hit a little bit harder, and just adds that depth to the character. Really kind of plays into that Huntress theme, and I really like that. And that's something that I like about pretty much all of these characters. If you're going to play one of them, they're going to feel like their name. You know, if you play the Pyromancer, you're going to feel like a Pyromancer. If you play the Monk, you're going to feel like a Monk. And with the Huntress, same thing. So I really like just that strategy and tactic that comes with how do I use Naira and those abilities, and when do I want to, you know, have her take damage, or do I take the damage and give it to the Huntress, and being able to do those things. So some really nice strategy that comes with the Huntress as well. And it is a little bit more complex. The complexity for this is a number 5. So yeah, so the Huntress is my number 7. My number 6 is going to be a little less complexity, and that is the Vampire Lord. This is kind of, think also really high damage like the Pyromancer, except for the Vampire has a little bit more healing because it revolves kind of like the Pyromancer with the Fire Mastery tokens. This revolves around Blood Power tokens, but also has really nice effect statuses with Bleeds and Mesmerize, which is really nice. But using those blood powers, you're going to be able to buff attacks, you're going to be able to heal, draw cards, cleanse effects. It hits really hard. It doesn't really have a lot of defense, kind of like the Pyromancer, but I do like that ability to be able to get the cards that you need in your deck using those blood powers. Being able to heal for the same amount of damage that you deal. So I mean, if you can really make a huge hit with your Vampire Lord, you could possibly get a lot of healing from that attack as well. So another one that's going to hit really hard, but does have a little bit more defense. So you're not as much of a glass cannon, in my opinion. But one that I think is really fun. Complexity is a 4, so it's not really too hard to get into, but you know, you are kind of managing those blood power tokens. So my number 6 is Vampire Lord. My number 5 is the Paladin. This is actually probably a favorite with a lot of the friends that I play with. Usually Dice Throne is a big one that when we get together we like to play. Dice Throne or Dice Throne Adventures, going through, I think I have quite a few campaigns kind of going on right now, which is a great game as well. But getting back to the Paladin, this is probably a lot of my friends' favorite. And I think that is because its complexity is a 5, so it's a little bit harder, but it has so many great ability tokens, so much defense, so much positive effect tokens it can place on itself. You have Retribution, you have Crit, you have Protection, Accuracy, Blessing, and Divinity. It's just really well-rounded. So if you're looking for a character that does decent damage, but also has really good defense, able to get those CP so you can upgrade your abilities, buy those cards, this is a great one. It has lots and lots of boons. So yeah, the passive is even really great too, where you get to gain extra CP and buy extra cards with your CP. So really good one if you're having trouble with, I can't get the cards that I need. This is one that's going to help you get through that deck, but also you're going to feel like you can actually defend and deal damage. So it's a really well-balanced character in Dice Throne, one that is a little bit more complex, but I think is well-rounded and is really, in my opinion, if somebody knows how to use them, is really tough. Actually, all of these are going to be tough, but this is a fun one to play, and I think one that if maybe you're looking for somebody that's a little more difficult, but you want it well-rounded, my opinion is the Paladin is pretty well-rounded. Probably one of the better well-rounded ones in my opinion. And just from playing with my friends, this is definitely ones that they like the most. My number 4 is the Shadow Thief. And I think I really like the Shadow Thief a lot because of the theme. I don't know, like the Shadow Thief feels like a Shadow Thief. The complexity for Shadow Thief is a 5, so it is complex. So I do like I said, I do like those heavier, more complex characters. But this one really feels like a Shadow Thief. You're playing with those shadow tokens, sneak attack, even the poison is really great. And I think that's what's really cool is being able to stack these tokens on people, being able to really use those effect tokens to your advantage. And, you know, it doesn't have necessarily the highest damage, but you can get a lot of CP and deal damage based on your CP. So I like that this is that the character uses, that you can rack up this CP not only to get those cards and be able to spend the cards, but also using that CP to deal as damage. And that could be really a fun little dynamic with that managing of your CP. Do I want to upgrade my abilities? Do I want to be able to use these cards? Or do I want to rack up a ton of CP and try to use it to hit somebody really hard? So you have to manage that really well. And again, I really like the status effect tokens that come with the Shadow Thief. Really helps with you feeling that theme, and can be quite annoying as well. So Shadow Thief is my number 4. Number 3 is the Treant. So the Treant is a complexity 6, so this is on the highest end of complexity. And this one is going to focus around spirits. So the Treant has a passive ability where you are going to be earning these spirits, and you're going to be upgrading these spirits or growing these spirits. And there's 3 different ones. You might have one that allows you to heal or add damage. And so you're going to be managing these spirits in order to grow them into the abilities that you want to use, or even, you know, being able to heal or deal more damage. So it's really cool to just kind of manage that. You really feel like, I always think of an Ent when I think of the Treant, but same thing, you know, you're a giant tree going around, and even with the status effect tokens, you have, you know, the barbed vine, the wellspring, so you have some cleanse there. You really have to focus though on upgrading those spirits. Like, you have some really good effects, and you have lots of healing with it because of that. And I think this is a good one, again, that's going to deal some good damage. It's got that theme that really oozes out as the character, and it has that, I just like that depth, that strategy that comes with it. It's a lot to manage, maybe if you're newer to Dice Throne, but it's one that I really, really enjoy. So Treant is my number 3. So if you've been following along, I obviously like the more complex characters, and the next 2 are going to as well be relatively complex. So my number 2, which is actually less complex than the Treant, is the Cursed Pirate. Just because I think it's because of just the mechanics that come with this one. So with the Cursed Pirate, it's a complexity 4. And with this one, you're going to be managing these cursed doubloon tokens, right? Which are bad for your opponents, but good for you. Because what's going to happen as the Cursed Pirate is that if you run out of cursed doubloon tokens, right? Eventually you will flip it over if you run out and you can't take, because you remove them at every passive upkeep phase. You have to remove these cursed doubloons, if I remember right. And if you can't, you have to flip over to the Cursed Pirate side. Now, the Cursed Pirate does a ton of damage, but the passive is brutal, because at the beginning of your turn during this passive upkeep phase, you have to take damage every single turn. So it's kind of like a race against the clock. Like, I know I'm going to die, but I need to kill my opponent that much faster. And so you really have to be careful with the cursed doubloons, because who are you giving them to? I mean, they might hurt somebody else, but you want to make sure that you have them, because you don't want to necessarily flip over too soon, but you also want to make sure you time when you can become that Cursed Pirate, so then you can hit that extra hard damage. It also comes with some really great status effect tokens. So you have the Powder Keg, Wither, Parlay, really great. You know, obviously you have the luck of rolling dice for like the Powder Keg, but it's always there. And you know, that possibility of being able to take that damage and those kegs blowing up on your opponents, they have to focus on getting rid of those negative status effects. So it's really, really interesting with that. If you ever do flip to the curse side, I should mention, you can never flip back. So that is something to realize with this one. It has really high damage, especially as the curse. I've already mentioned that. Inflicts the negative attack modifier. Also, you know, I've talked about the kegs exploding. So again, you're going to feel like a cursed pirate. The theme really shows up in this one. It's super unique. I really like that about this one. A lot to manage and to be aware of. And if you can master that and being able to manage all the different elements that come with this one, this is a very, very strong character. Again, in my opinion. Okay, and so that is my number 2. And then that brings me to my number 1. This is my favorite character. I don't know if it'll be my favorite after the Dice Throne Marvel, but my number 1 is the Artificer. Okay, so this is a complexity 6, and a lot like the Treant, this one revolves around these bots, okay? And again, you're going to be able to upgrade these bots. However, unlike the Treant, you're not getting rid of these spirits. You're not spending them, but you can activate their abilities. And depending on which bot you create and then upgrade, you're going to have different abilities for those bots. So you're going to have bots that you're going to be able to build and upgrade. You're going to have these synth tokens that you're managing, which you're going to be able to use these synth tokens to build your bots, to be able to put nanites, which is another token, on your opponent that's going to deal damage. And then you're going to have those bots that are going to increase your damage. They're going to help healing. If you ever take damage, you can use them to help heal. Not to mention, you know, you have a passive where you can spend 4 synth to inflict nanite to an opponent, and which is going to damage them. And so you can do a lot. You have a lot to manage with the nanite, obviously, but then you have the bots, and I feel like it's a pretty well-rounded character to play as. Yes, complex, a lot to manage, a lot to keep in mind, but it's one, again, that I think the theme really, really sticks out. You actually feel like an artificer, and it's a great one to play. Definitely my favorite, and one that I always reach for if I can. But this is definitely my number 1. So with that, that is my number 10. This isn't like a strategy guide. For all I know, you know, the Barbarian is the best one out there if you're looking for, you know, ones that work best for Dice Throne Adventures. I'm just saying these are my top 10, ones that I have a lot of fun playing. And honestly, if I can't even pick my number 1, I have so many great, like, there's so many great characters to play as. I wouldn't be upset if I couldn't play my number 1. I feel like this is a game where all of the characters are really, really well done, that you don't have to buy a whole, like, if you get a set, you're going to enjoy what you get. Whether you get the battle chest or you get the little individual cases, you're going to enjoy what you get. I originally had bought a 2-pack set from Barnes & Noble. That was the Gunslinger and the Samurai, and really enjoyed it. Ended up getting the battle chest and was able to share that little pack with a friend of mine who also really loves it and was going out and bought extra packs. So, I mean, if you're wanting certain characters, you can buy the certain packs, but those are my top 10. So if you've managed to get this far in the video, I will now let you know my 11 through 16 real quick. I'm not going to go into depth like I did with the other ones. Not that I went into extreme depth anyway, but I will give you my 11 through 16. So my number 11, like I said, was really close. I was kind of back and forth between the Seraph and this one. And the Seraph, I just liked a little bit more, but I do like my number 11, which is the Ninja. So this is really close to being my number 10, but unfortunately, not quite better than the Seraph, in my opinion. My number 12 is the Samurai. Very low complexity, easy if you're new. You know, you can pick up the Samurai Gunslinger pack if you're just kind of starting to get into it. Pretty easy one. Focuses a lot on damage. My number 13 is the Tactician. This is actually one that is higher in complexity, but doesn't really do it for me that much. It has some depth there, but I just feel like I'm not really doing a whole lot. Maybe I'm not playing him correctly, but the Tactician, I was not thoroughly excited whenever I play. I kind of got bored playing with him. So the Tactician is my number 13. My number 14 is the Barbarian. This is another one that's really simple, easy to get into, easy to play, not a whole lot of depth. Like I said, it's simple, so I mean, that's a great one for new players, but still enjoyable, and has some heals as well, so it's a little bit more well-rounded as well. So Barbarian. The number 15 is the Gunslinger. This one, again, it's pretty straightforward, not high complexity, but you know, it is what it is. It's just it just wasn't as good as my top 10. It's, you know, it's still fine. My friends do not like playing with the Gunslinger. That's probably their lowest in their list. And then my final and last or least favorite is the Moon Elf. Moon Elf is number 16. This, of all of them, this is one that I just actively avoid getting into. I'm not really sure why. I just don't really get into it. I don't feel like I really am doing, again, maybe I'm just not that good at playing the Moon Elf. I'm sure there's people out there that could take the Moon Elf and probably destroy me with it. But, I mean, I don't know. If you know something that's great about the Moon Elf, tell me about it, because this is the last one I ever reached for. It's not really one that I've seen do well in matches, so that's why it is my number 16, just not one that really, you know, spoke to me or one that I thought was very exciting. So that is my ranking of the Dice Throne Seasons 1 and Seasons 2. Got those mixed up a little bit. But yeah, so if you are interested, I'd say definitely check them out. It's a great game, but also go check out the Kickstarter. They have Dice Throne Marvel, where you can play as Loki, Doctor Strange, Captain Marvel, Black Panther, Scarlet Witch. Oh man, what am I missing? I think I already said Captain Marvel, Black Panther. Spider-Man, that's a really cool one. I was looking through them today, and I would say my favorite, just by looking at them, would have to be Doctor Strange and Loki. Although Spider-Man looks really cool with that combo and the webbed effects. Those look really neat, but I like the magic cards with Doctor Strange, and I like the deception. That looks really neat with Loki. Again, I've never played it or really had much other than looking at the Kickstarter page, but Doctor Strange and Loki look really interesting and fascinating to me. But yeah, let me know what you're excited about. What character are you looking forward to with Dice Throne Marvel? Or maybe you're not looking forward to it. Or tell me what I was wrong about. You know, maybe there's one of these characters, maybe I'm missing something, and tell me what your favorite Dice Throne character is. So yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. This is something I've been wanting to do just for a little while. This is a really great game. I encourage you to check it out. And thanks for watching. So please like, comment, subscribe, click the little bell icon so you get a notification every single time we post a video. And we'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks.